Well, good morning. We're back on the Avon. I think it's the 29th, it might be the 30th of December. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. It's really, really mild today. We've come back, I say we because Daryl's joined me again. We've come back to the backwater. Even though the river, the main river, looks absolutely superb, it's back in its bank. We couldn't get down here, we couldn't leave home till really about 7:30, so we knew it was going to be busy, which it is. And we just thought we'd come back to the backwater, we'll try and fish the weir up and downstream sometime throughout the day. We've only got about 6 hours. Standard approach here, I've got a dace out there with its head off and a roach down the edge. And looking forward to that rod tip tapping. As you can see, I watch those, excuse me, I watch the rod tips all time. Sorry, a bit of a dry throat there. Watching those rod tips all the time for the slightest movement. When I do, I'm going to be picking the rod up, winding down and striking. As you can see, I've got some new clothes on, some new boots, Christmas presents. The old holy Nash salopettes are finally gone in the dustbin. Some new boots, waterproof boots, because I'm hoping to do lots of walking along this river over the next couple of months. I've got a nice thermal insulating jacket here, not that we need it today, it's about 10 degrees, but it is going to minus, I saw -4 on Thursday. As I said, it's the Monday after Christmas, so yeah, it's good to be back. More here just to, you know, talk to people. A few of the anglers are already having pike problems downstream. As I say, I've got a couple of dead baits out at the moment, and fingers crossed we'll get a pike or two in the next sort of 6 hours. Well, the rods have been out about an hour now, and amazingly not so much as a little tap. We've only seen one small fish move. I've been here a little bit longer than I normally would do. Daryl's managed to catch a couple of small fish, less than the club's ruled of 6 ounces. He said he caught plenty of fish, but they were all too big. So we've managed to get live bait. What we're going to do is switch these dead baits over to a couple of lives, give it 20 minutes, and then if we don't get anything, we'll move on to the next swim, and hopefully sooner or later we'll have a pike on the bank for you. Well, we're up and running with this one. It looks bigger, it's about £7 that, but we've just switched from dead baits to live baits. Never ignore the margins, pretty much under your rod tip, and it took about how long, Daryl? 10 minutes?
10 minutes max.
And the bite again wasn't savage, it was like, is it, isn't it? You pick the rod up, I just said just put a bit of pressure in there, felt it tap its head.
Absolutely.
And we're up and running. So we were thinking it was the time of day, but no, this one, cracking colours on that Avon pike.
Nice colour.
Well done, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
Let's get a bigger one. Well, that's the second one of the day. Again, probably quite fat, this one, probably a little bit over £10. We've been up on the weir pool for an hour, put lives in there. That was our dead cert for bites. Nothing came back here, swim above where Daryl had that first fish this morning, put it in, wallop straight away. So keep moving about. I think we caught less fish today in bites because we haven't moved about. We've been a bit lazy doing a bit of video work, but yeah, cracking pike. But again, I want one twice this size. Well, if there's one thing I've learnt since I've been down here on the Avon is to be organised. Now, I like to move around on the river, and I might fish, you know, anything from 4 to 10 swims throughout the day, and it's very easy to get a little bit unorganised, a little bit lazy, and move to the next swim, just put your rod out, take your land in there, and then you hook a pike, and then all of a sudden you think, where's my mat? Where's my unhooking equipment? Where's my glove if you need a glove to glove them out? So one thing I do now is, although I want to get my rods out as soon as possible, every time I move, I get my mat level ground. You don't want it on a slope. When you get that pike on there sliding down between your legs or off the mat, try and get it as close to the water as possible, on level ground. I've got my glove. Sometimes, because a lot of the fish up here, we're picking the rod up and we're striking early, we're finding that we've got a hook trailing hook, and I like to glove them out. So as soon as I get a knock on the rod tip, it takes me a couple of seconds to put a glove on. So if I need to glove them out and unhook them, I can do. And then also, you know, obviously on my mat, I've got my long nose pliers here, forceps, and a curved one just in case that hook is down in the gill in a difficult position. And very, very important, those wire cutters. If you get a deep hook fish, which is very, very rare, have a pair of these. You must have a pair of wire cutters, long handled wire cutters, just to cut those, you know, the bend of that barbed hook off and remove that hook safely. It is a bit of a, you know, flapping around. It takes a couple of minutes, but when you actually get to catch that pike and land it, everything's there. It takes a couple of minutes to do that, and you're all nice and organised. And you know, the pike safety is you know, paramount. So make sure you get all your equipment, unhooking equipment, mat, etc., etc., all sorted before you get those baits out. Well, something I want to try and do in each of my videos is to come back and just visually say thank you to all those that make a comment, and also to try and explain to other anglers, you know, why that angler made a comment. Now, one thing I promoted in my videos last year is I always keep a pair of these attached to my body. When I land a pike, I can pick it out, I can just take these off, hand it out, take them out. But this gentleman, and thank you very much for this comment, asked me if I could not please shown to be wearing these or ever wear these on my jacket or anywhere on my body, because he had firsthand, he may well have been an ambulance or a paramedic, unfortunately had to firsthand have the job of removing these from somebody's chest. Now think about it, we're not getting any younger, you're pike fishing, slippery banks, you slip over, where are these going to go? Could go through your heart, could go straight through your neck and take an artery out. It doesn't matter where you have them on your body, please don't do it. We just look at Whitehouse and Mortimer, and we look at Bob and see how many times he falls over. And the other day I was watching Gone Fishing, and Paul Whitehouse had a pair of these on his jacket, on his hood. Now, you know, I was going to say think about it, but let's not think about it, what damage these could do. I've got as much chance of injuring myself with these attached to my body than, you know, as I have as winning the lottery. But let's face it, somebody does win the lottery. So please, please, please do not put these anywhere on your body. Put them somewhere where you know they are, but don't attach them body, because one day it might be you that ends up falling over on the bank and these are like a knife going in your body. Well, we've just come down the backwater and 2 bites straight away. Dale got this cracking double. Took a roach live bait, just presented on the bottom with an up trace. He's happy with that, because last week he was having a bit of a struggle putting them in the net, but another cracking fish off the Avon. Happy days. So on the bank the other day, I mentioned about double crimping, and it's not that easy to show detailed work or talk about these things when I'm trying to look at those rod tips like a hawk all the time because of the bites being so delicate. So I thought I'd just mention this one back at home. And I was just talking about making my own traces and double crimping. Now, most of the bought traces you buy are absolutely fine. They've got a single crimp on there, and you know, 99% of the time they'll be fine. But just like a carp angler makes his own traces, you get a certain satisfaction out of making your own traces. And when I make them up, I just put 2 crimps instead of 1 on the swivel and on that top hook. It just means that if I hook a snag, I can just put a straight pull on, and the weakest point is the hook, where it's going to bend out and release that trace and give me my trace back, not leave a trace in the river. So the great thing about making your own traces, you can adapt your traces to the situation, the baits you're using. But in this case, I just double crimp the hook on, put a little bit of shrink tube over the top, and I am just 100% that is not going to give way. well, it was always going to be a short session, missing the best feeding spell this morning and the last feeding spell just due to having to pick the girlfriend up from work. But 3 doubles we've had, taking turns, 3 bites, 3 doubles. Probably underestimated the size of those fish. They're probably like sort of 12, 13, 14 pound. Really looking for a bigger fish. We're going to have to go searching, I think, a little bit more. But really happy with all the tackle now. We've beefed it all up. The hooks are bigger, double crimping, 49 strand, up traces. Obviously live baits are scoring at the moment. We did go up to the big weir, had an hour up there and just didn't get a touch, which was really, really strange. Those swims have always produced in the past, but it just didn't feel right up there. The water was really swirly. Came back, had a couple of doubles, and we've had an hour in the big weir pool now, just for a big fish, but it's really difficult to fish. Be a bit scary if you hook a big one in here. But really enjoyable, going down with my mate Daryl. He was a bit frustrated last week because he was hooking them and losing them, but obviously it's a learning curve for him. 3 bites, 3 fish, 3 doubles. We'll be back very, very soon.